you've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Okay.
One word, himself. That is the FBI director's answer to the most consequential question in this hearing. Who did Jeffrey Epstein traffic victims to besides himself? Himself. And the senator asking that question was not a Democrat looking for a political moment. He was a Republican, on a panel that had already spent time praising the FBI's work. He gave Patel every opportunity to give a different answer. The answer was still himself.
Senator Kennedy.
Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana is a Republican. He is not Patel's adversary in this room. He is, in fact, one of the more sympathetic figures Patel has faced in a Senate hearing. Kennedy opened this session by praising the FBI's work on 2 high-profile assassination cases. He spoke warmly. He used Patel's first name. He framed his Epstein questions as seeking clarity, not attacking credibility. He gave Kash Patel the most favorable possible setting to explain what the FBI knows about Jeffrey Epstein's clients, and the answer was still one word. This video is about what that word means, why this setting made it worse, and what the rest of this hearing reveals about the gap between what the FBI can do and what it is doing.
Mr. Director, you and the FBI, working with state and local law enforcement officials in Utah, have caught the assassin of Mr. Charlie Kirk. Is that right?
We have a suspect, yes, sir.
And you did that within 48 hours, did you not?
33 hours.
33 hours. Congratulations. We've had other political assassinations. Back in June, an assassin assassinated Representative Melissa Hoffman, Mr. Hoffman, Senator John Hoffman, and Mrs. Hoffman in Minnesota. You and the FBI and Minnesota state and local law enforcement officials caught the assassin within 48 hours. Did you not?
I believe that timeline's correct, Senator.
Congratulations. Sometimes we miss the forest for the trees. Good work. Did Mr. Kirk's assassin act alone?
As I've said since the beginning, Senator, it is very much an ongoing investigation, and I can't speak to the state charges. That's for the state to address on their own, but we are providing them with the same investigatory findings reporting the department. And as I noted to Senator, I believe it was Cornyn or Hawley, that there are a number of individuals that are currently being investigated and interrogated, and a number yet to be investigated and interrogated specific to that chat room. So we are very much in our ongoing posture of investigation.
So others could have been involved?
Yes, sir.
33 hours. That is how long it took the FBI to identify a suspect in the shooting of Charlie Kirk. 48 hours for the Minnesota assassinations. These are real results, and Kennedy acknowledged them with genuine congratulations. The FBI can move fast. The Bureau can bring institutional resources to bear on a high-profile case and produce results in under 2 days. That capability is not in dispute. What this hearing is about is a different kind of case, one where the FBI has had not 33 hours, not 48 hours, but years, and where the answer to a question about the most famous sex trafficking network in modern American history is one word. Before Kennedy got to Epstein, he made one more stop that matters for context.
I asked you this last time you were here, Kash. You remember Mr. Peter Strzok and Ms. Lisa Page?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Strzok was an FBI agent. Ms. Page was an FBI lawyer. They were both very aggressive anti-Trump political activists who allowed their political opinions to affect their work at the FBI. Is that a fair statement?
I believe their text messages and their testimony that was secured by the OIG and DOJ speak for themselves.
In fact, Mr. Strzok and Ms. Page were having an extramarital affair, and at one point, Ms. Page texted Mr. Strzok, quote, "Trump's not ever going to be president, right? Right?" Mr. Strzok replied, "No, he won't. We will stop it," end quote. Ms. Page resigned from the FBI. Mr. Strzok was fired. They promptly sued the federal government and the FBI and Justice Department for releasing their emails, which revealed all of this. The FBI settled that lawsuit for $1.2 million, gave Mr. Strzok $1.2 million cash, gave Ms. Page, who resigned. She wasn't fired, she resigned, she quit, gave her $800,000. Who, if the FBI made that decision to give them money?
That settlement was reached in the Biden administration when my predecessor was a director.
Who? Are you saying that Chris Wray did?
The only people that can decide that settlement are the Attorney General in conjunction with the director and the administration.
Okay, so you're telling me that Attorney General Garland and Director Wray decided to give them the money. Is
Yes,
that
sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
$2 million, $1.2 million to Peter Strzok, a man who was fired, $800,000 to Lisa Page, a woman who resigned before she could be fired, both paid by the FBI under Merrick Garland and Christopher Wray, according to Patel's direct testimony. This section of the hearing is important for one specific reason. It establishes that the FBI makes deliberate institutional decisions about where resources go and what cases get resolved. Strzok and Page were resolved with $2 million. The question Kennedy is building toward is about an institution that has spent years, multiple administrations, and considerable legal energy on the Epstein files, and still cannot name one person those victims said they were trafficked to. It is not that the FBI cannot make decisions. It is about which decisions get made.
All right. I want to ask you about the Epstein files. Have you seen the Epstein files?
I have not reviewed the entirety of it myself, but a good amount.
He has not reviewed the entirety. He controls those files. He is the director of the agency that holds them. He is the man who promised the most transparent FBI in history, and he has reviewed a good amount, but not all of it. That detail matters for what comes next, because Kennedy's question was about what is in the files, and the director's answer will be about what the files contain, while having acknowledged he has not read all of them.
You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one
For the information that we have
in the files.
in the case file.
Okay.
Himself. Parse that word carefully. Jeffrey Epstein ran a documented sex trafficking operation for years. Federal prosecutors brought a case. Victims cooperated with investigators. The 2019 indictment in the Southern District of New York was not a small civil filing. It involved sworn testimony, FBI 302 documents, and detailed accounts from survivors who named the men Epstein delivered them to. Virginia Giuffre testified under oath. She named billionaires. She named politicians. She named royalty. Her account is in the public record of federal court proceedings, and the FBI director, asked who Epstein trafficked victims to besides himself, said, himself. There is no credible information. None. Kennedy did not shout. He did not accuse. He simply followed the logic of the answer. So the answer is no one. And Patel qualified for the information that we have. Kennedy pressed one more time. In the files. In the case file. This is the most precise and most damaging exchange in this hearing. Not because it revealed new information, because it put on the official record from a friendly Republican senator that the current FBI director's answer to who Epstein's clients were is a single word describing only the dead man himself.
Now, President Trump has deferred to the FBI and the Department of Justice with respect to the Epstein records. He says it is your call about releasing them. And I understand that the department and the agency have decided to release them in cooperation with the House committee. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So you're releasing them a little bit at a time. Is that correct?
We're releasing as much as we can, but we are limited by 3 different court orders, and the department went back to each of those judges to waive those court orders or have them lifted, and each of those judges declined.
Will you release all of them, or at least as many as you can?
We will release everything we are legally permitted to do so. We are continuing to work with the House on the subpoena request. We have substantially complied with it, but we will continue to release whatever we are legally permitted to.
3 court orders. 3 separate federal judges were asked to lift the legal restrictions on the Epstein files. 3 of them said no. That is not Patel's failure alone. It is a judicial determination that the restrictions remain valid. But here is the context that matters. Patel has already said he has not reviewed the entirety of the files himself. He has said the information he has is limited. He has said there is no credible information that Epstein trafficked anyone besides himself. And now he says there are 3 court orders he cannot override, issued by 3 separate judges. Each of those statements is individually defensible. Together, they produce a picture of an FBI director who has partial knowledge of files he partially controls that are partially restricted by courts, and whose answer to the central question of the entire Epstein investigation is one word.
I strongly encourage you to do that, Kash. This issue's not going to go away. And I think the central question for the American people is this. They know that Epstein trafficked young women for sex to himself. They want to know who, if anyone else, he trafficked these young women to. And that's a very fair question. I want to know that answer. And I think you're going to have to do more to satisfy the American people's understandable curiosity in that regard.
Kennedy said it plainly. This issue is not going to go away. He is a Republican senator who just praised the FBI's work on 2 assassination investigations. He used Patel's first name. He thanked him, and he still ended with, "You are going to have to do more." That sentence, from a friendly senator, carries more weight than any accusation from an adversarial Democrat. It is the closing statement of a man who gave Patel every opportunity to produce a different answer, and is telling him that the answer he produced was not enough.
I agree, Senator. And what we have done, and just to remind folks, the Epstein case files existed in the 2 prior administrations, in the Obama administration and the Biden administration. And they didn't release anything. And there was President Trump in the first administration that renewed charges against Mr. Epstein. And I know it's a little complicated to understand, but what exists in the Epstein case files was a direct result of the limited search warrants from 2006 and 7, which hamstrung future investigations because of the non-prosecution agreement. And multiple administrations had the opportunity to look at the entirety of that case file and recommend prosecutions against anyone that was trafficked under Mr. Epstein and anyone that participated in that trafficking. And the only person to bring charges was the prior administration against
the prior administration defense. Obama did not release them. Biden did not release them. Trump brought the original charges. All of that is accurate. The Obama administration's handling of the Acosta deal is documented history. The Biden DOJ's decisions on the Epstein files are on the record, and the Trump administration did reopen the case. None of that changes the content of Patel's answer to Kennedy's direct question. The question was not, which administration handled this best? The question was, who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic victims to? Patel's answer to that question was himself. 3 administrations had the files. The FBI director who has them now has reviewed a good amount, but not all of them. And his answer, after all of it, is still one word.
Now, I am not saying that others were not trafficked and others were not involved. What I am telling you is that based on the information we have, and we have continuously and publicly asked for the public to come forward with more information. If there is, we'll look at it. But based on credible information, we have released all credible information, and the information that the Department of Justice and the FBI never releases is information on investigations that are not credible. And we don't release the names of victims who weren't credible, but in the same time, we don't release the names of victims who were credible. And so that's by law. And so the information we are releasing now is historic, and it is also to the maximum capacity that the law allows. And I know that's not going to satisfy many, many, many people. But if they wanted it done right, then the investigation from its origination should have been done right.
Listen to what he said in that last statement. I am not saying that others were not trafficked and others were not involved. That sentence is not the same as saying himself. It is a concession that trafficking to others may have occurred. He is simply saying the credible information he has does not support a prosecution. But that is not what he said to Kennedy. He told Kennedy himself there is no credible information. None. That is an affirmative statement. This last paragraph introduces a qualifier, may have occurred. We just cannot pursue it. The gap between himself in the hearing, and I am not saying others were not involved in the closing statement, is exactly the kind of gap that keeps this issue, in Kennedy's own words, from going away. The FBI can catch a shooter in 33 hours. It cannot tell a United States senator who attended Jeffrey Epstein's parties. The same agency, the same director. One word for Epstein. 33 hours for Kirk. 33 hours for the shooter. One word for the clients. The same FBI. What would you have asked him?